Here in Kentucky, we certainly know now December tornadoes are possible, and this past week they've been striking again in the Deep South. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Doug Proffitt. Next Saturday will be the one-year memorial since the deadly Western Kentucky tornado outbreak that made world news. Tonight, I begin our coverage in Bowling Green, where I met Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear for a one-on-one interview. If you've wondered how often the governor has returned to Western Kentucky, tonight you'll find out. Western Kentucky residents had one plea in the days after: don't forget us. The paint is going on 1 year later. The final nails are being driven in Bowling Green. Who built these homes? Was this Louisville involved in this?
Louisville, Habitat for Humanity of Metro Louisville sent their entire construction crew down here.
10 homes springing from what was a farm field. New hope. A new start for Bowling Green tornado victims Mervat Waba and Sammy Sorial. This one is theirs. Are things getting better?
I hope. Yes.
On December 10th last year, they lived several miles away with their children on Moss Creek Avenue, a street in Bowling Green that took a heavy loss of life from the giant tornado. For them, everybody survived.
Yes.
Everybody lived.
Yes, thank God.
Sammy and Mervat gave us a tour of their new Habitat for Humanity home miles away from their old street.
I'm excited. It's good.
They know where everything is going when they move in about a month.
Under the kitchen.
Right down to the comforts of home.
Dog and cat and the rabbit and the fish.
And they also have a friend in high places.
It's nice to see you again.
Governor Andy Beshear knows them by name. This is his second visit to this street in just 2 weeks.
Just wanted to say hello again.
Thank you
so much. Please tell your daughters I said hi too.
In October, the governor was here with the tornado survivors and others, celebrating who will fill the 10 Habitat homes. Hi, Governor Beshear. Doug Proffitt. Good to see you. The governor met me here for a 40-minute one-on-one interview. December 10th, Saturday, what do you want people in Kentucky to think about and remember?
Well, first I want them to remember the Western Kentucky community and how many people were lost. Their families still out there grieving, and we need to be with them 1 year after, but 10 years after.
Sitting on the back porch of a new home, this was his 41st visit to Western Kentucky since that horrific weekend.
In many ways, the shock of how long it was on the ground, we were able to track it by debris, tens of thousands of feet in the air, something like we had never seen before.
The age range is 5 months to 86 years, and 6 are younger than 18.
He's being called Kentucky's disaster governor. Ice storms, the COVID shutdowns, the tornado, the eastern Kentucky flooding. He told us one thing has proven true: that first hour information. Does that first hour information turn out to be accurate or end up being worse than what you've been told in the first hour?
Typically you have an idea of how hard it's hitting when it starts, but you don't know how long it's going to last.
Does he now expect a blueprint for the state's emergency response?
In almost all these in the beginning, people will try to not overreact in terms of what resources you push. You should always do that.
Beshear made his frustration with FEMA and its slow reimbursement to victims very public, both in western and eastern Kentucky. How many times did you have to intervene and get in fights with FEMA to try to...
Dozens.
That much?
It's everything from, I raised it in every call with the president and with the vice president, and we would see some changes after that.
Then there's the private donations that poured into the Team Western Kentucky Tornado Relief Fund, created by Beshear.
So we have distributed, about 40 of the $52 million, and we did it in a number of ways. First, we paid for every funeral, because the process otherwise you have to go through is reimbursement a year later. These families are grieving, and nobody should have to cut corners.
Whose idea was that?
It was mine. It was the least we can do is grieve together.
You took it right to the funerals first.
Yes.
To remove the red tape.
Well, I just didn't want any of these families that don't have a home and have lost somebody to try to find X thousands of dollars to make that happen.
You go over here, it connects to a park. That is a brand new elementary school right here.
Rodney Goodman of Habitat Bowling Green, along with the governor, both brought up one thing to me: how a storm is now viewed by people when it rolls in today.
You know, we have kids down here that have lived through this, and when it rains, that's a concern to them. Like, a storm isn't a storm anymore.
Residents here are shell-shocked, some traumatized by even the smallest of storms.
Everyone my home is scared. He coming raining, shower, everyone is scared. Me and two daughters. But what can I do?
So where are folks going to dash in case another tornado comes over Bowling Green? Well, right here. Each one of the Habitat homes has been built with a crawl space. They'll have to come out of the house around here and right down into that basement. Even now, 1 year later, they are not just rebuilding houses, they are building a community.
It didn't end on the 10th. They've been trying to recover all year. They're tired, they're exhausted, but they're hanging in there.
And this week and next, WHAS 11 News is bringing you reports as we have been back to Western Kentucky several times the past few months. Plus, join me and Shay McAllister next Wednesday night at 8 as we bring you our primetime special report from Mayfield, where I'll have a lot more of my interview with the governor. WHAS 11 News reports Kentucky tornadoes 1 year later next Wednesday night at 8 p.m.